Okay, I've just saved up a Python file with the name of list, tuples, and sets. So let us look at lists first. We can define the same of list which we had seen in the PDF in the PPT. So students, and maybe we can mix up with respect to maybe students with their name and marks or something. So mark, we can give something like this student. It can be an integer, amber. Okay, so you can define in this way. So now I can reference to any of the item which is present in list by using indexing, okay, which we have already seen. Maybe for example, I want to print out students of second element. Okay, so what happens is 0 first second. Let me just save it and run it. So here you can see it is printing amber. So this is how we can just list or reference an item in a list. Okay, and also here I'm telling like Mark has scored some 80% or something. Okay, so let us just see how we can loop through a list. Okay, so basically looping through a list, what we can give is I'll just comment this out. So for X in students, so you can loop through in this way. Okay, so you can just tell print maybe we can have alternative conditions. Okay, and also if at all you need to print students along with their marks. Okay, so maybe you can tell X in students, so then you can just print out the student name. So, sorry, you will be printing out X. Okay, and in the next step you need to print it in marks. Okay, so here you can do in multiple approaches, whether you can use a range number. Okay, so maybe X in range of length of students. Okay, so why I'm doing this, I'll just explain in a second. Length of students. Now my X will be index of the number. Okay, so I can just print out X comma maybe scored comma X. So here it is index, sorry, so it should be students of X. So I can start from 0 until length, and here I want to print out the value of it. So at this scenario we will be giving student of X plus 1 for the next index. Okay, and in the next iterative we will be taking 88. So instead of that I need to go for the next student. So basically here I can define my step as 2. Okay, so let us just run this and see what happens. Okay, see here it is linked. Mark scored 88, Amber scored 92, Sandy scored 84. Now if at all I have used instead of this range function, I can directly use students. But what happens is I will be iterating over every individual elements. If at all I take the advantage of range, I can just use a step function. Else what you need to do is you just need to like maybe define a simple integer with 0. Then in the next step you can just give it as continuous. So basically here you can give it as just students. Just print out the students value, and then what you have to do is you might need to like give a if condition, whether if it is even maybe. So if it is divisible modulus 2, then it can be given as like you will be printing this value. So that is for the first iteration, and for the next iteration you will just check the condition whether it is an odd index. Okay, so maybe 88. So for that scenario you can just use the continue statement to skip this iteration and go this. But whereas using a range statement over here is much more flexible. Okay, so that is about this. And also again getting the length of the list. So here only we have the length of the list itself, and also we can add items to the list. Okay, so I'll just comment this out. Okay, so we can literally add by using append statement. Okay, so there is something known as append. So we can use students Then we'll be using append. So here the object I would like to give as maybe another student name Todd. Okay, and also I want to append his score by using students append. We can give a random number, maybe 95. Okay, so this is a string Todd, and here we have this. And after appending, let us print this. So basically, I'll just put it over here. Okay, so let us see what happens. Okay, so here you can see Todd is present. So if I uncomment these also, so here if I uncomment this, it will show me the list before appending anything or list after appending. Okay, so that is about how we will be appending to the end of the list. Remember, every time we append something, we will be appending to the end of the list. And also I can modify. So maybe after printing this, let me just skip this for statements. I'll just comment them out. Okay. So I have already appended. So let that be as it is. Now maybe once appending, I made a mistake. So I just want to change the students index. Okay. So I can just use students, the index of here. It is basically the last most element. So it is very convenient to use as -1. So I'll be just manipulating the value as maybe 93. So let us just save that, and we'll print out our list itself. Print students. So let me just execute that. So here you can see Todd value has modified. Okay, so if you want to verify whether it is modified properly, you can just print it over here also. So before modification and after modification. Okay, so this is a feature which is available in this. You can just manipulate data which is in the list by just indexing them. But whereas when it comes to tuple, this won't be the condition. Again, we'll be seeing that in a minute. So there is more manipulation with respect to lists. So maybe we can actually combine two different lists. So let all this be in this way itself. So let me just comment out this. Okay. So maybe the manipulation let it be there. So we won't be printing. Now let me create as student list 2 or students 2 for a list. Okay. So here I can give another student's name, something like Robert. So you can just take any name, and also I just want to give him marks. Okay. So 97, something like this. So now how we can append a list is, so basically we'll be using the original list, and then we will be extending the second list at the end. So basically adding something similar to append. Append will add one variable. Over here we are just appending a list itself. Okay, so that we'll for this we'll be using the function known as extend. So basically students dot extend. So here what I will be extending it is my second list. So now let me just print students. So see whether it is appended. So let me just go and execute that. Okay. So here you can see it has been appended at the very end. Or maybe I want to remove the last two elements. Okay. So for that again we can do remove by using the self-explanatory function known as remove. So maybe here only I'll just continue. I'll just comment this as print statement. I'll just give as students dot remove. I want to remove the last two elements. Okay. So how can I remove last two elements? So maybe I can index as -1 for the last test element, and again do -1 for the removing the the last element. Okay. Else you can just use by slicing. So maybe I'll start with -2, and if I include -1 over here, it will exclude this last element. Okay. So basically for that I will be just removing that and slice from the last second element. Okay. So let us just print this out again. So let me just save it. So we shall execute it. Okay, here the object is not iterative. Okay, over here we need to have a remove function in terms of what exactly we need to remove. So basically here it is not iterative. Apologies. So we will be removing the maybe we need to index the element itself. So I want to remove Howard and also the score 97. Okay. So let us just execute that. So here you can see Howard and the score 97 is removed. Okay. So that is one way of removing. Again, you can manipulate. Also, you can remove the any particular character by just giving them with respect to the referencing name over here. How we have done. So if at all there is duplicates, maybe you can just figure it out how it will be doing. And there is another good method of removing. It is a very simpler method. So let me just uncomment this. And instead what we'll be doing is we'll be using something a function known as pop. Okay, so basically we'll be just what do you tell popping out a variable. Okay, so maybe I can just give as students, not a variable. Okay, pop. Okay, and here I can give index also, so it is already telling me index, but let me not give any index and let us just print students. This should be going below. I need to print after popping out. Let me just run that. You can see it is popped out. So maybe I want to pop out again the last most element. Okay, so I'll give as 0 as well as maybe the first most element I want to pop. So minus so 0, the first most element. So here you can see mark has disappeared. Okay, so maybe it is wrong with respect to the format what we have assumed, that having the student name and then the corresponding marks. Okay, so else you can just give pop -1 for the last index, save it, run it. So here we have removed Howard and the score 93. Okay, so that is how we can do. And also we can clear out a list. So maybe I'll just keep this as it is. So before popping, and then I'll just give students dot clear. Okay, let me just print students again. So let us execute that. So here you can see we have the list of the students, and but here it has been cleared out. Okay, so we are using, and also we can count with respect to the list. So basically how many times an iterative item is present. So maybe I just want to append this multiple times. Okay, so let me just copy this and give this. So it is extending multiple times. And let me just comment these out. So we'll have the print statement at the very end. So we'll just comment these out. So basically multiple times I'm doing. Okay, so what I can do is I can just give as list name students dot count. So here I need to give an object. So maybe I am giving Howard the marks of 97. So I'll just count how many times 97 is present. Okay, let me just run that. Okay, so I am not printing out, so maybe I have to assign this to a value. So maybe I'll give as count itself, count equal to, so I can just print count. So let me just run that. So it is telling 2 times. Okay, so you can count the number of where exactly it is, and also you can find index. Okay, so suppose I'll just comment this out and I want to get index of a particular element. Okay, you can just keep it or whatever. So here I'll just comment this out too. So what I was about to tell is maybe I'll just read, we don't want count, I'll tell as index. Okay, so index of an element which is present in students. So I'll get index of it. Okay, so again index I can get in multiple ways. So you can just go through the documentation. So object, starting integer, ending integer, but I want to see where exactly the 93 is available. Okay, so let me just run we need to print out index. So let me quickly just run that and see the index. So it is telling index number 7. So if at all I need to print over here, however I have executed the file and I just want to check students of 7. Okay, so you can see it is 93. So it has index number 93. And also we can do many things, like if I want to sort out these ones. So but here basically I have the kind of mixture of value. So maybe if I use a sort function, it might not work for the different data types. So let me just try. It might work, but in a different way. Okay, so let me just give sort over here itself. So student sort. So yes, as I was telling, we have integer and strings mixed up. So let me just comment this out, okay, and comment this out too. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just put triple this one to comment everything out. Okay, now let us just start with fresh, and we can give names. Okay, so again we'll just give a list known as names equal to. So here let us just take a different names like Zara, Loop. You can use Jake and so on. You can just take as many as you want, and again we'll define a list of numbers. So let me just call them as numbers equal to, again this can be our marking for them, so maybe like uh, 96, 89, finally 92 or something. Okay, so I can just give that. Now let us see how exactly the sort function works. So names dot sort, here sort function will be literally sorting within the within the list itself, and it will be reassigning it. Okay, so we will be printing before sort. Okay, so maybe I'll just give print before sort. Okay, so we'll print out both lists, print. So we'll be printing out our names, we'll be printing out our numbers. Okay, we'll do it again the same thing after sorting. Okay, so we'll just add it over here. So here I'll give as numbers dot sort. So again you can see over here we are getting some kind of auto completion telling that for sort function we can give. Okay, so let us just see that. So here it is telling key and reverse, so just go ahead with documentation, you will understand that. So let us just execute this. So basically here you can see Zara, Loop, Jake has been sorted from Jake, Loop and Zara, so alphabetic order, and also the numbering is changed into this one. So maybe this is not the corresponding mark, so that will just jumble up. Okay, so there are so many things, and also I was telling about reverse condition, right? So you can just use name reverse. Okay, so you have this format and you want to reverse it. Maybe I'll just do it here itself, names dot reverse. So what is names now? It is reversed. Okay, so you can see Zara look, so it is getting from Z to A, and also you can create multiple lists, so you can copy a list. So names, maybe I just want to have a backup. Okay, so okay, so names, maybe backup, I'll call it as names dot backup. So here what I'll be doing is names dot copy. Okay, so now my names backup will be equal to these same things. Now I can actually manipulate. Again I'll be just using this Zara reverse. Okay, so I can just use upper arrow. So I've again reversed it. So if I check names, it is telling Jake, Luke, Zara. But if I use the names backup, if I check that, it is still Zara, Luke, Jake. I can actually give new names as equal to names also. Okay, so my new names will be equal to Jake, Luke, Zara. Now let me reverse it again. So I have reversed it. So let us check new names. What has happened over here? We have reversed our names, but our new names is also reversed. So basically, when you are assigning in this way, you are referencing it to the same list which is present in the Python. Okay, but here when you do a copy statement, you are copying it. Okay, so you are basically duplicating it. So if you just check names dot backup, it will be Zara, Luke, Jake, Zara, Luke and Jake itself, because we have not done any manipulation on this names dot backup. Okay, so it is always it is best to use copy function unless you want to have a copy of it. Else if you want to reference with multiple variable names, you can do in this way also. So this applies for same for strings, again integers, values or something like that, maybe lists, tuples, everything. So I think we have done almost we have covered everything with respect to list. And one more thing which I have missed out is insert. Okay, so basically with respect to insert, the append was appending at the very last, right? So here when we are giving append function, it is appending at the very last. But I can append it, I can actually insert it in the somewhere in the middle also. Okay, so I just want to add Todd over here, so that I will just use it, use a function known as insert. Okay, so I can tell insert this in a particular location. So insert in 0th location dot. Okay, so if I check students, I'm not sure students is already there. Yes, students is already there. I'm inserting at the dot. So you can just give index where exactly you need to insert. So that is all about the manipulation of lists. So in the next video, we'll be seeing about tuple and sets together.